sent me an email a few weeks back requesting information about a good cryptocurrency to invest in that has huge upside potential with very little downside that could moon anytime soon. Does that ring a bell to you?
Oh yeah, I might have said something like
Okay,
that.
great. Well, the reason for the call today, John, something came across the internet today. It is perhaps the best thing I've seen in the last 8 months in the crypto market. If you have 60 seconds, I'd like to share the features of this crypto.
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Name of the crypto is Banano. It's designed to be a feeless, instant, rich in potassium cryptocurrency. Powered me welcome you to the Banano community.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Don't let your memes be dreams.
Goodbye.
See the money wanna stay for you, me. I'll say it's gonna put some love in your life. Don't you really wanna know how it feels? Everybody wanna see what it's like, but you even wanna be inside. It ain't lies. We all know there's better things in this life.
Stay safe, sane, and sanitized.
Greetings.
Yeah, no.
This is Uncle Odd. How are you? This is Uncle Odd, but you may know me now as Uncle Vigilante, as I was renamed by Raphael himself, who is the crypto vigilante. And we're pioneering a new show tonight, and I have with me Worldly Traveler. Let me find my view. Can you say hello?
Hi, how's it going?
There we go. I have your view. Yes, this is my man, Worldly Traveler, and let me just set the table a little bit for everyone. Again, I am Uncle Odd. The reason why I'm Uncle Odd is my nephew could not enunciate Todd, so Uncle Odd it became in my family, and I submit there's an Uncle Odd in every family, you know, the one who's relegated to the little kids' table at Thanksgiving because, well, the adults, they just can't stand to have one more, you know, crypto-related conversation, something like that. So I like being over there at the little kids' table, and joining me tonight at the little kids' round table is Worldly Traveler. And why is he here? Why am I here? Well, a month ago, a little over a month ago, it was I think the second week in January, I had a guy who followed another YouTube channel of mine who basically said, Uncle Odd, you need to invest in XRP. And I'm like, what's XRP? And they said, it's cryptocurrency. And I'm like, uh-huh. What's cryptocurrency? I knew what cryptocurrency was, of course, but I didn't know really anything about it or how to buy it or whatever. So this gentleman through Telegram chat gave me a few pieces of advice. Basically, go on to Coinbase and set it up and just get some buy some XRP, and XRP was traded at that point. So I just got a little bonus check, and I thought, you know, why not? Let's just go all in. And so I went all in on it. And then like a week later, I was informed that Coinbase was going to stop trading XRP because there was some kind of a lawsuit against Ripple, who is the whatever of the coin. I guess the miner of the coin, the creator of the coin. So then I'm like, now what? And in the meantime, you know, once I started putting my toe in the water of crypto, I started getting all kinds of, you know, advice from lots of different people who dabble. And basically it's like, oh, you have to get your coins off an exchange. They're not safe on an exchange. And I'm like, well, what's an exchange? Well, yeah, Coinbase is your exchange. Like, what do you mean a wallet? Well, and that's where we all begin, everyone. We don't know shit as newbies. And so, long story tolerable, I spent a month muscling through trying to figure out how to get my coins off of Coinbase, my XRP off of Coinbase, how to actually diversify that XRP, how to get it onto an Exodus wallet, and then getting onto what's called a cold storage wallet that basically takes it off of, it's like unplugging from the internet. It's like if you put everything on your computer and you just unplugged your computer and it was dead, you know, it's not connected to Wi-Fi or electricity, it's just dead. That would be kind of a cold storage wallet, but they're, you know, they're smaller, kind of like a little thumb drive. But anyway, with that cold storage wallet, lots of things you have to be mindful of, like keywords. And what are those? And what do you do with them? And how do you safely store them? And blah, 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 all kinds of things that just make you go, WTF? Well, I signed up for a conference. It was the Crypto Vigilante Conference. It was a 2-day conference, and it was on a Thursday and Friday. And that's where I was going to get smarter. I was going to learn how to basically take the cookies down from the top shelf, put it down on the shelf where I could, you know, grab them, maybe eat a few cookies, understand it in my mind. And so I was tuned in, man, for 2 straight days. And the best thing in the world was that there's a TCV Summit official group on Telegram. And so all of the people who were attending there were engaging a lot. I think there was one time there were probably 700 people in there chatting. Now, fast forward to the end of the second day. And I'm starting to note that there's a lot of frustration in the chat. And it's the frustration that a lot of us newbies felt we were going to go there and basically be told what to do and how to do it. And not to say there wasn't that kind of content in there. Don't take me wrong. It was an amazing conference. But if you are 101 like me, just new to the show, new to the notion of buying crypto, it is over your head. And it's kind of like, well, how can I put it? It's kind of like going into, you think junior high school is no big deal, right? Right now as an adult. But just imagine when you were a kindergartner. And if you had to march right into junior high, which is kind of no big deal to an adult, you know, that's kind of where a complete newbie was in comparison to that summit. That was junior high. And then you had some even PhD classes in there. It was really amazing. But, you know, doesn't help us with, hey, I have $1,000 in the bank. How can I buy crypto safely? And that's where we are today, because in that chat, I saw so many people asking the same questions that I had. And so I decided that I'm going to launch this channel. Now, I was going to live stream, have a couple other channels, but you know, Uncle Odd tends to, you know, say things that YouTube doesn't like. So on my other channels, I'm all banned. And so I launched this channel thinking I could live stream right away, and I can't. So what you're seeing right now is a recording. And I'm sorry, I tried, but I need to get a few more subscribers to be able to get it to live stream, apparently. So, but the content is going to be great tonight, I promise. Setting the table, you know, what this channel is going to be dedicated to from here on out is just really, really trying to get some amazing guests on here who agree to come in at a little lower level, give us some sage counsel, give us some how-to advice, kind of set the level of safety, the safety net here. We don't want to lose our money. We know there are a lot of scams in this space. And so how do we safely get our money from the bank, you know, into a cold storage wallet? How do we safely trade? How do we exchange? All of those things. And you may be watching this right now and not know anything. And guess what? Welcome. Welcome to the Little Kids Roundtable, the Crypto Roundtable, because we're here to learn. And tonight I have Worldly Traveler, who is one of the gentlemen who engaged in the chat, and I am so grateful. You know, every once in a while, you just run across some people that, you know, they lead with their chin versus their hand out, meaning they don't ask for anything. They just step in and they start helping. That's my friend tonight. And so he said he'd be open to coming in and giving a little 101. So we do not have an agenda, and this is going to go where it goes. This whole channel is going to go where it goes. I hope you come along for the journey. All right, enough about setting the table. Let's pass it over to Nick. Nick, how are you? Tell us a little bit about you and your backstory and your experience in this crazy world we call crypto.
Yeah, well, I'm to sort of start at the beginning of the story. So, or actually start at the point where we're coming at about what is cryptocurrency.
Yes.
What most people do not understand is that cryptocurrency, it was Max Kaiser explained it well before. It's all based on cryptography. True cryptocurrencies are based on cryptography, which means we're sending messages, information that is encrypted when it's going from me to you, and then it gets decrypted by you when it arrives at, to you as your destination. Mm-hmm. So when we're talking currency, money, that means that being able to, like with Bitcoin, the private key, you can have a public address, which is public address. I can see how much is in your account, but I cannot use the funds in your account unless I have the private key. So the private key is the one that unlocks the wallet. It's cryptography, numbers. Those numbers are used as a code, sort of a code to unlock the wallet. The same way you use a code to unlock a safe is the same way you use a code to unlock the wallet, the cryptocurrency wallet that we can send funds from a Bitcoin wallet to another Bitcoin wallet on the same network.
So the wallet is the safe, and the keywords that you have when you get a wallet, let's just think of it as a safe. And let's say that wallet is an Exodus wallet. So because that's a wallet that's out there in crypto land. So let's just imagine it is big letters on the side says Exodus. In that safe, we want to be able to put your currency, your cryptocurrency. So to be able to even get an Exodus wallet, you have
right. You're kind of I'm sorry, I have to back you up here. All right, so you're kind of getting a couple things. That's what I noticed when you were in a group, getting a couple things conflated, kind of confused. Yeah. All right, so it would be, when we're talking specifically, let's say about Bitcoin, the primary principle of cryptography is decoding the message. Also, so when I was in the military, so I have a background as a military intelligence specialist, right? Okay. So if I'm sending an encoded message to another military base, that military base needs that key to decode the message. Same way that a cryptocurrency network needs, you have to have the private key to do some transactions, to decode the message to the network, to interact with the network. For me to communicate from one military base to the next, I need the key. Got it. So a private key is decoding that wallet and then opening it up. That's the basic thing to think. It could be thought of as having a safe, and then you're dialing, the tumblers to open the safe. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah. So the crypto key would be the dial.
And it's oversimplifying it, right? Because there's different levels of encryption. So the idea with Bitcoin is what is 256-bit encryption. So in other words, the idea is that if you were trying to hack the Bitcoin network, it would take you an extremely long time to break the code to get into the network, to do some kind of hack or attack, right? Because the Bitcoin network has never been attacked, or it's never been hacked, I should say. Okay. Because the algorithm, the formula is extremely complex, right? It would take you a long time to kind of like hack it and compute and break the code, basically. So what most people don't, like I said, people get things conflated. So the Exodus wallet is like a hybrid wallet, which is true. So on that, you can store more than one cryptocurrency. And it's also storing the private keys for each one. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So let's do this. Let's make it even more simple. Let's say that Mr. Newbie has $1,000 in the bank, and Mr. Newbie's nephew told him that he needed to figure out how to get into this cryptocurrency game. So he says, all right, I'm all in for $1,000. Take Mr. Newbie into how you would do that.
It would be, if you're talking really simple and the person didn't want really private transactions, you go to somewhere like Coinbase or Kraken.
Yeah, let's start there.
Let me back it up so I can just give you some explanations here.
Okay.
Coinbase and Kraken, but the thing what's happened in the cryptocurrency industry, if you want, or the world of crypto, is that we're kind of having where, especially United States, the crypto exchanges are more like banks. Because I used to work for a bank, so I worked for Capital One for a couple of years. So understanding that we're moving away from what Bitcoin originally started as a private network for people to interact and exchange money with each other. You could join the network and become part of it, become a participant. And the currency, of course, is Bitcoin and proof of work, which is basically all these computers connecting to each other to farm the algorithm, to break the code, to get rewarded for processing all these transactions in a kind of really basic way of explaining it. So now what's happened in cryptocurrency exchanges is the thing about it is that the privacy element is gone with a lot of the technology has a privacy element, but now what you're having is because you're taking fiat cash money, well, the government has said, well, this is a valuable commodity. You're exchanging money for this, like any other financial market. Well, we want to know because it's called know your customer. The United States has enacted laws where that you have to know certain information about every customer that you have working, basically doing business with you as a financial institution. So it would be like passport number or passport information, social security number, address. You have to be a U.S. resident. Depending upon the state, certain states block you from actually being customers of crypto exchanges. So now what's happening is that, yes, you're buying crypto on an exchange, but it's not private. It is a transaction the government has access to, and those records can go to the government at any time. So there's that's what I was saying when people get so confused. Cryptocurrency is going to be private, but if you're buying it through a public exchange or a government regulated exchange, well, the government has all the information: who bought what, when, where you put it, how much did you buy, that kind of thing.
Okay, so when I started with Coinbase, they asked me for, basically everything, my information. They wanted my.
I've helped Coinbase. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've got an account with them that's mid 2000s. So
Sure. So Coinbase is a good place for a new beginning person.
It's a good place for someone who they have a lot of good support services, customer service. They have a user-friendly interface, so it is very much like a bank.
Okay.
And if you don't have a problem with having your social security information, your your personal identification information about address, passport, and all that with them, then that's really fine, because it is a good stepping stone for a lot of people, because you have a very user-friendly interface. You don't have to worry about they have vaults you can have with your accounts. You can lock up your stuff in the account. Within these vaults that they have, that can be attached to those different wallets, so that nobody can just go in there and hack it and spend it right away. It takes 2 days for the transaction to be processed. We have it in a vault versus the regular account. The other thing is that they have Coinbase Earn, these different programs. We can earn free cryptocurrency. We're watching videos about the newer currencies that they list. They have the Coinbase Exchange. So it's a good stepping stone. Kraken is too. And then there's
tell me about Kraken. Is it US based?
Yeah, it is. It's based in San Francisco.
Okay, in San Francisco. Okay.
But that's how it's Coinbase. Coinbase is also based in San Francisco. So it's based in the tech hub of the United States.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I've heard a lot about Kraken. One of the things that we learned at the conference that was in, junior high to high school level was a lot of people at that conference were talking about, you want to be able to ultimately do what Bitcoin originally was intended to do, which is stay private. So one of the things that I thought was pretty illuminating was somebody had said that if you take let's say $100 bill and you that's a Bitcoin, let's say, and if you turn it on the back, imagine being able to see that Bitcoin, where it was transacted, who transacted it, how much, the complete history of that Bitcoin. That's what's happening now when you buy a Bitcoin. So you can imagine that if there was, maybe 20 transactions back, let's pretend there was somebody who bought something illicit on.
Right. Yeah. Well, the thing about it is, just to break in there.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is a public ledger. So it's not a ledger that is secret, which people kind of get confused about. So it's not, so they call it pseudo anonymous, but But the thing with the Bitcoin ledger, it is meant to be a public ledger. We can verify transactions as a community. So those transactions aren't meant to be private. They're talking about software implementations, changes, further down in other versions. But if I know your wallet address, I can kind of see easily by doing what you call blockchain explorer to be able to look and see what you're sending out, when you're sending it out, how much you sent it to, what other addresses you've sent. It's not too complicated.
Okay.
Blockchain analytics is another level above that, because like you say, you can be tracing back to the moment that Bitcoin was mined to all the places it's gone to,
Okay.
all the different addresses within the network. So yeah, but it's a public ledger. It's designed to be that way. So it's not people think that it's going to be. And that's what I was trying to say. People conflating things, because Bitcoin being conflated with privacy coins, which are like, let's say Monero, which is designed to be private from the beginning, where we can't trace the transactions.
Right.
That's the
and I
difference.
think my takeaway from the conference was I'd better get smart on Monero at some point in time.
It is, well, it depends upon what you intend to do. As a long-term investor, I think it's a good choice. Or if you wanted to have completely private transactions, let's say you're in a country where there's like political repression, all these other things, then it might be something of which might be really good for you, right? Because you just want that personal level of privacy. We don't want people to know how much you have within your digital wallet or your cryptocurrency wallet and where you're sending it to, right? You want to have that level of privacy. Yeah, Monero would be a good choice.
So once you have Monero, then you could let's say you could take that Monero and invest it in a Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin goes from 50,000 to 100,000. Now, does anybody know, since you bought it with Monero that was private, does anybody know that that's you who bought the Bitcoin that went from 50 to 100,000?
Well, with Nero, I mean, where are you going to buy it from? Though, are you buying from a public exchange, or are you buying it from another individual?
Don't know. I'm going to go straight to the basis of my question. I see a lot of people. What people don't.
But let me stop you there, because this is where you're getting misdirected, right?
Okay.
So yeah. So the thing about it is the public exchanges are keeping records. So
yes.
So it's kind of like walking into a bank and like, hey, I want to do this transaction. Well, the bank, of course, is keeping track of the transactions, right?
Yes.
So yeah, the Monero being sent to the exchange, but then the exchange knows the Monero wallet address. It can't trace it back, say to all the transactions of that wallet address, but you having sent it, yeah, you have that anonymous transaction. But there's still, let's say if you register, and this is what I'm trying to back you up at.
Okay.
If you go to the exchange, put your name, your passport, and your information, and then you pass that through your account.
Then they know.
Use Monero or not? No, because they already know who you are, and they already know which wallet you have.
Yeah.
Because they set up the wallets for you as well. So the wallets that they provide are the ones that they're keeping the records of. So it's not.
Okay. So
let me just slow you down.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to stay private throughout the whole process, right? So you'd have to do an over-the-counter sale, or it would have to be a personal private transaction. Keep the privacy element there.
All right. So that's, I guess, that's where I think everybody was in the summit, and it was just kind of going over their heads, because that's kind of what was talked about a lot, in there. And so back to basics then. Not worrying about staying private, but just worrying about getting into cryptocurrency. It's going to happen on an exchange. And so you start with your money in your bank, and then you want to get you want to download onto your computer or to your cell phone, or does it matter? Let's say Coinbase.
Yeah. So one of the issues with exchanges is that there have been times in the past, because you see, so to get into the concept of it, the exchanges and the wallets, not necessarily what most people don't understand is that the necessarily thing is that the exchanges don't always have the coins that you're buying. So sometimes they'll go to the market when you want to cash out your account and get it off of the market. So not necessarily holding for you, but they're holding an IOU for you. But one of the problems that happens is if they're in a government, or there's what was it? okay one or something like this. Anyways, if there's a case of mismanagement, embezzlement in the company,
Mm.
those servers that have all those IOUs, all that customer accounts can be seized either by the government because they might have been involved in some illegal activity, or like you say, coins might be coming in through that might be involved in some kind of drug sale or something, going
Okay.
through that exchange. Or another issue might be that the director stole the money, which has happened with some. So
Okay.
the things, so the idea is that when you're doing these sales, like buying cryptocurrency, you should generally keep it within your own hardware wallet is the best storage that you were talking about before. Because the thing a hardware wallet is, it's not a very smart device. I think Raphael talked about that, or somebody I can remember on some video, but
Mm.
it's not. So it doesn't really, so it only really can do the actions that you want it to do. And it stores that private key. But it's not very easy. They can be physically hacked, but it's not very, software hacks are kind of hard to do. But it's because it's a very simple device. It's not like a computer where I can put in a virus and the virus can replicate or can do all kinds of other actions on you without even knowing it, like mining Monero on the background. You might not know. But so the hardware wallet is basically connected to the computer, contains the private key. You send money out with the computer, or with the private key, I should say, to another wallet within that same type of cryptocurrency, where you perform some kind of transaction on the with the cryptocurrency that you're using. But yeah, storing your keys or your money or your cryptocurrency on an exchange, it leaves it vulnerable to being stolen, to the government seizing all those, turning off all of those central servers, that particular company, and your money could be gone. And I've had problems with exchanges that just went out of existence.
I want to take the opportunity right now of screen sharing this, and this is I got permission for this, but this just came to me yesterday. This is the gentleman who actually got me into crypto, and he was heavily vested in XRP, and we were going back and forth. And he was like, "How about that XRP price?" Because I think I bought it at 28 cents, and it's like over 60 cents. Well, he told me that this. He basically had somebody, because
yeah, I understand. Yeah.
he had his XRP on Exodus, and some dude went in and ripped it off. And so, and I hate this. It's like I worked all years accumulating, mining with the computer, and all gone, poof. Destination was change hero. Exodus is not safe. It's a hybrid wallet. So this is that. I mean, this is a friend of mine. And so it is, it is really important when people say, okay, get your crypto off the exchanges into a hard cold storage wallet.
It wasn't the hardware wallet in that case, though. The problem was it wasn't that. So what happens with it is the two things that could have happened, right?
Yeah.
So in this particular case, so I'd have to, see the situation. First of all, yes, when you go to your Exodus wallet, you do have a password. So if you don't have it connected to the hardware wallet, or you don't have it linked to one, it's easy for me to enter the password. If I can get access to computer, there's something called key loggers. So I have a key logger on your computer. I could get access to the computer remotely and then enter that password and do it. I mean, but the wallet itself does stay on your computer. So there's another thing that happens with the Exodus wallet. It has what you call it, those key phrases. I think it's 24 words, 12 to 24. So that's the private key for that wallet. But if I get the private key of that wallet, it's called it's BIP 132, Bitcoin Improvement Protocol 3132. So if I have that, I can replicate that wallet onto another computer.
Mm.
You understand? Same way with Trezor. So the seed phrase that you have, or the seed code words you have with Trezor, with Ledger, if I have that set of seed phrases, I can take a similar ledger, replicate that wallet on there, and take all your funds, which has happened. So one thing that happens is crypto. I talked about that, how one of the YouTuber that I met, Narco as well. What he had said, what happened is he took a picture of his Ledger hardware wallet, and he put it on his Google Drive. Somebody hacked his Google accounts, so they had all those pictures, and so they had the picture of the seed phrase, so they could take those funds at any time, because the seed phrase can be used to set up another new wallet very easily. All you need is that, and they create a new code, new password, and then very easy to do. So what most people don't understand is that how you store the seed phrase, and that information is very important. It is all cryptography. If I have your key, if I have your code, I can do what I want. Do you understand? It's kind of, because it's all based upon cryptography. The cryptography in the cryptocurrency doesn't recognize you or me. It recognizes the actions. It recognizes the input.
Sure.
And once that money's gone, it's gone. Very hard to trace, very hard to get back.
There's
Where people, and this is the element of self-responsibility,
right.
getting yourself well-educated. But yeah, so what I would say generally, what's a good idea is to have the ledger, the Exodus wallet. You set it up, and then it connected to something like a Trezor wallet, but to keep the seed phrase for the Trezor wallet somewhere like in a safe deposit box, somewhere safe, write it down and keep it safe and have more than a copy of it. Just so you know that it's not on your computer, because if it's on your computer could get hacked, somebody could get that information, or if it's on your Google Drive, they could hack and get that information.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, because this is all so fresh in my mind as a newbie, is I'd like to just kind of go along with the process as I think it is and have you confirm it. So
go ahead.
when you get ready to get the $1,000 from your bank into some cryptocurrency and safely tucked away, what you're first going to need to do is make sure you collect, because you are going to have to submit your driver's license, et cetera. You're going to have to get your driver's license. Make sure you have paper, because you are going to have to write down, as Worldly Traveler says, your seed words, your secret code, if you will, that are going to keep you safe, and your passwords. So it's very, very important to have a clear, I would suggest actually getting just a little, a dedicated notebook to your own cryptocurrency, and being able to, along the way, whenever they say that you need a password for Coinbase, you need a password for Exodus, you need a password for your Trezor wallet, first thing have that in your notebook so that it is all there. And then we'll talk about what we can do with that notebook at the end of this. But so at the beginning, get a notebook, get that, I would suggest going online to Amazon and get a Trezor T, is the one that holds more coins, and it has an interactive, when you enter your password, you can interact it on the face of this little Trezor T. And that is, think of it as a thumb drive. That's what's going to hold your own cryptocurrency. That is your bank. That all your money is in that little vault, right? So we're going to talk about how to keep that safe in a little bit. But that is the end game to what we're going to talk about next. So you have your bank account information ready as well, because when you download Coinbase, or you go to Coinbase.pro, we recommend Coinbase Pro, not just Coinbase. For lots of different reasons, but just trust me on that. But get Coinbase Pro, and then you just go through the process. They make it very easy for you to be able to set up your own account. And again, you have your handy notebook there, writing down your passwords to Coinbase Pro. And then you are going to connect your bank account to it, because you have to fund your is Coinbase, would that be called a wallet, or no? Is Coinbase just an exchange? You have to fund your little account on the exchange.
No, your Coinbase account does have separate wallets for each cryptocurrency.
Okay, so that is a wallet on there. So each crypto is a wallet in your own Coinbase world. So
I'll explain it to you. So it would be that when you have the Coinbase account, you're given separate wallets for each cryptocurrency: Bitcoin, Zcash. You can set up separate wallets for each one: Bitcoin, Zcash. It would be, Ethereum. So whatever ones that they are supporting, you can have separate wallets for each of those. They're going to have to be separate anyway, because they're different blockchains. But But yeah, so that's what we can set up.
So
Another, go ahead.
I
What
was
you
going
gonna
to say, for us that are visual people or maybe older, just think of that as a, separate file folder in there for each one of your coins. You're going to be able to,
Or yeah, or like a separate safety deposit box or something
there
like
you
that.
go. There you
That's
go.
something different in each box, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So, but what? Yeah. So I agree with you. So yeah, let's say we go back to that. The example you're using of someone who is a conventional, regular person
Yep.
says, "Well, I've heard about cryptocurrency. I want to diversify my investment to $1,000. What do they want to do?" I mean, so yeah, I mean, with Kraken or Coinbase, it's a little bit easier to start with that for the average person because, yes, you can do private transactions like on local, local Bitcoin or local Monero. Sometimes those transactions go well, sometimes they don't. But it's I would say, do you want to be meeting somebody in the back alley with a bunch of cash you've never met
Right.
before, or
Right.
try to do some transactions with somebody you've never met before? Don't meet the face to face. If it's your first time, probably not, right?
Right.
You don't want to meet the guy in the back alley trying to like buy some bitcoins off of him and all this other kind of stuff, right? And so yeah, so it's probably easier for most people to think about. The thing about the Coinbase, of course, and now we have Bitcoin IRAs, which are offered by Fidelity. So like for the average person, it's the user interface and that interaction that they're really familiar with from the banking world, right?
Yeah.
And it makes them feel user friendly and comfortable. It's like you say, very visual. Kraken is the same thing. So, and then you can also do ACH. Gemini is another one. We can transfer money directly from your bank account to the exchange and then buy cryptocurrency with that.
Right. So bottom line is you need to connect your bank account to it and fund however much you want to invest. In this case, it's going to be $1,000. Now,
your 1,000, yeah.
Now that $1,000, so that's sitting there. So you have $1,000 that you can go in and buy. Let's say that you're going to buy 5 different coins, one of them Bitcoin, one of them Ether, one of them Zcash, one of them whatever. We'll say 5. So let's say that you divide it up into $200 purchases of each coin. Now, people should know when you see Bitcoin out there at $48,000, it's intimidating. You think, what? $48,000, man, I'll never be able to afford that. Guess what? That's the cool thing. You don't have to. You can buy $200 of that $48,000 coin. So it's kind of right. It's almost like a timeshare of that Bitcoin.
That's exactly right. Well, the thing is, Bitcoin is divisible to 8 decimal places. Ethereum is divisible to 18 decimal places. So you can buy a small fraction of Bitcoin, like you're saying, or a small fraction of Ethereum and just hold on to it. You could even put it as part of your estate or part of your trust or whatever for your kids or grandchildren, when they get older. So it can be part of your estate. So yeah, it's divisible to 8 decimal places. So people think that they have to buy. What most people don't realize is that because I have a background in economics, I have a master's in international economics and development studies and all this. So the thing about it is most people don't realize is the value of deflation versus inflation, right?
Yeah,
so
educate us on that.
Buying power by investing in Bitcoin, and over time we have seen it steadily increase in value versus fiat currency. So a small portion of your investment portfolio in there, even if it's an eighth of a Bitcoin, or some sort of a fraction of that, decimal wise, is still what would still preserve some of your wealth. Like buying some gold might preserve some of your wealth as well.
Right. Because
basically, as they call it, yeah.
Because let's face it, when we hear that they're printing trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, your dollar isn't going to go as far as it used to. So I believe there was a meme I saw today that it was like in 1932, $20 could buy you 1,700 gallons of gas, let's say,
right.
versus 10 now or whatever it was. Anyway, bottom line is our money doesn't go as far as it used to, and the more they print, the less your dollars. So you're just not going to be able to buy as much as you think you can in 10 years. So unless you're getting some kind of return on any investment, the value of your portfolio that's just sitting in the bank or in your home safe or, in your back pocket is just decreasing, decreasing, decreasing. So that's what interested me in this is I got tired. I have a 401k and, it used to be a really nice 401k. And then in 2008, I lost 50% of it, boom, overnight. Now it's gotten back maybe back up to 80% of where it was, but it just trades sideways all the time. I just look at the monthly statements and I'm just tired of seeing that same number. And so I'm like, I keep hearing from people that 10 years ago, if you invested in Bitcoin, the stories, people invested in Bitcoin at $2, at $10, at $20. It's trading only 10 years later at almost $50,000. So that means, and I'm just telling you right now, $50,000 may seem intimidating. It may seem like, oh my gosh, it's $50,000. I missed that boat. I can't get in now. This show is not investment advice, but I will tell you there are only so many Bitcoins that were made or can be made that can be mined. I know that sounds crazy if you're like me and you're new and you haven't been in this space, but just trust me on that. It is finite, the number of Bitcoins that are out there. So the more people buy them, the more the higher the price of this is going to go. So that $50,000 in 10 more years, can you imagine somebody in 10 years going to you and saying, you're kidding me? You were able to buy in at $50,000. It's 1.2 million per Bitcoin now. Are you kidding me? You got in at $50,000. So that's the point here. That's why we want to, even if it's that $1,000, just this channel is dedicated to you because let's just figure this out together. Let's just go take $1,000, get 5 coins in a Coinbase Pro wallet. We're to that point now. Once you get it there, then you need to get it off of Coinbase. And because you ordered that Trezor T in about, 2 days or 3 days, that arrives. Now what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to see on your Coinbase account that those 5 accounts, those 5 coins that you spent $200 on each coin, the way that this last month has gone, you may see that $1,000 already be $1,100. Or it could go the other way, sports fans. I am very open about, I had $30,000 to invest and I invested 30 grand in all of this. And today I looked at it and it's over 60 in over a month. Now, I fully recognize it could have gone the other way. And, depending upon the market, it could be 50,000 tomorrow. So that is where, but I'll tell you, man, it's been a nice dopamine hit taking a look at that every day. So that's just the point, is this at least has the potential to be able to increase our wealth, and it can decrease it too. But now we're in Coinbase, and they say you need to get it off of Coinbase. Why do we need to take it off of Coinbase? Why can't we go directly from Coinbase to our Trezor? Why do we have to go through Exodus?
I'd say yes, you can. All right. So I would say that you can, if you go to, I think Trezor.io. So when you set up your Trezor, yes, you could. You could take whatever you have on Coinbase and send it to the Trezor. It's not really the website, but the wallet you would have there. They do have an online website interface. Basically, we can interact with the Trezor wallet through that interface. You can send it directly to your Trezor wallet if you want. I mean, same.
Okay. Sorry.
I'm sorry. So you don't have to go through Exodus. No, Exodus is kind of like what happened, and that's why I'm saying people are complaining things in the chat. It was kind of funny. Okay. I've been doing it for 6 years. So what happens is people are getting things jumbled in their mind because I don't know what their sources of information are. So they were probably hearing different sources of information. One of the things that people wanted to do was buy Monero.
Yeah.
So Monero is then they wanted to buy it privately. So what they wanted to do is buy it privately. So if you have and what do you call it, Bitcoin or Ethereum, or some other cryptocurrency, you can, through the inbuilt exchange on what you call Exodus, you can exchange it for Monero. And technically, Exodus
Through Exodus?
Well, yeah, but let me just explain something. Technically, Exodus doesn't keep trace of those transactions. So it's what they call a non-custodial exchange. It doesn't hold on to anything. It's just basically an interface between the seller and the buyer. And then that's it. The same way that Shapeshift sort of works that same way too. It's not custodial.
So on Exodus, because I have Exodus, so I can visualize it. So if I have Bitcoin there, I could search for Monero, and then I could exchange my Bitcoin for Monero, or I could basically,
yeah.
Okay, so you're just switching now. But here's what we need to talk about, both on Coinbase and Exodus, because I see a lot of people get sticker shock because they don't do that for free, do they, on those exchanges?
Right, but you're paying for privacy. They don't keep records, so you're paying for privacy. So do you understand what I mean? So you're not putting in your information, you're not putting in your passport number, social security number. You're paying a premium for the privacy, which would be that you're exchanging this right at the moment. It's also got like what's called like the OTC market. So you're paying a premium because you're doing it instantly right then and there. You're not trying to match up through market maker or something like this. So yeah, you're going to pay a premium for the privacy because those records will not be kept. The transaction will be private. You don't know each other, and then it's done, right? Shapeshift is the same thing. Shapeshift is based on the same concept because Shapeshift, which is based in Belgium, had started with that idea of just building the interface between buyer and seller of certain amounts of cryptocurrency. The reason why it became non-custodial, just the interface, is because if they became custodial, they would have been classified as a bank. They would have to operate as a bank with all your customer regulations. So this interface of Shapeshift or Exodus is also a storage wallet as well for cryptocurrency if you want to store it there. And also it is that interface which is like private. So you can have a quick private transaction, get it done, then there's no record.
Okay.
That's why.
So time out. So is Shapeshift and Exodus one and the same? Is that part of Exodus?
They're two different companies. Yeah, two different
Okay,
companies.
so if I had Coinbase,
their exchanges are based on similar concepts, right? Being the matchmaker, if you will.
Okay, so matchmakers. Okay, so if I set up my Exodus, I thought with Exodus I had to upload all of my information on Exodus too. Am I not?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay, so I do have Exodus. So you're telling me that I could take $1,000 of some, let's say, in a Bitcoin, and I could go in and I could exchange it to Monero, put that on my Trezor, and now I have Monero that is private.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, it seems like everyone was kind of going like this, trying to figure out how to do that. I mean, it's like there had to be 40 different answers.
What a lot of people wanted, what some people in the group were, oh, it's so expensive. And I'm like, yeah, because you're paying for a private transaction. It's going to be an over-the-counter transaction. Sometimes going to be more than going through an exchange. But the exchange is keeping records. I mean, Binance.com is now cracking down. So they're kind of allowing a little leeway, allowing the access to where like under a certain threshold, of course, you don't have to do KYC. I think that's going to change in the future because, as I said, a lot of these exchanges are custodial. So they're offering services similar to banks. Binance offers deposit accounts. It offers, what do you call it, futures and currency. So a lot of that's going to change. I mean, I don't think that little threshold is going to stay there anymore. I think they're going to go full KYC on everything. Poloniex is kind of a little KYC, like know your customer regulations. Then it kind of changed things a little bit because they lost some market share. But it will probably change because we're kind of seeing that little merger between cryptocurrency exchanges and banks because the banks are losing a lot of market share to crypto exchanges. and
Right.
so they want to regain it. So that's where that pressure and the regulation is coming from, and I don't think it'll just keep happening.
Okay.
The centralized exchange is a little bit different. So that's what that's sort of what like Exodus and Shapeshift are, decentralized exchanges, not really any central server or anything like that. But
Okay. Newbie question here. Newbie question. I mean, what can you do with cryptocurrency? Can I go spend my cryptocurrency at Walmart?
you can if you want it. So there's a couple ways to do it. I mean, one would be to get a crypto debit card
Okay.
that will, and they're usually linked up with the bank, and then that bank they will convert that cryptocurrency into cash, into dollars or fiat, whatever. Then you can spend it at Walmart.
Okay, let's say that you get a debit card. Let's say that you have that $1,000 and you decide I want to load up $1,000 on my debit card. And tomorrow, because of Elon Musk, now that he invested a lot in Bitcoin, so now that $1,000 in value went up to $1,500, let's say. Does that debit card have since it's tied to my Bitcoin, is it going up in value too? So I have more open to buy on that debit card?
And depends upon which type you use. So if you're using a preloaded one, where you say there's a couple, they work a little differently. So it depends upon which one you sign up for.
Mm-hmm.
Like BitPay would be preloaded. So it's preloaded and it's kind of, they charge a little bit, but you would send the Bitcoin to BitPay, to your BitPay account, BitPay Bitcoin wallet. Then through their exchange, you exchange it for dollars, and then those dollars are loaded onto the value of the card. So Bitcoin went up between the time that you preloaded the card and the time you spend it, then you're not going to get the advantage of the increase in value.
Who gets
Coinbase
that? Who gets
Coinbase has a different setup, because where you were loading Bitcoin onto the card, it would stay on the card, and then when you spent it, if the value increased, then you got the increase in value of the Bitcoin versus fiat.
So in my example, who gets the increase of the $500 then? Where does that $500 in increase?
No, when you like with BitPay, when you convert it, you've already converted it into dollars. So the increase.
Okay, duh. That's,
you understand what I mean?
yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and they're not all created equal, so you have to I mean, I want to go through any detail.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's because a lot of them charge load fees, sometimes 2%, which kind of eats away. And then they charge inactivity fees, which BitPay does. So it's like $5 a month or something like this. So like for every 90 days. So like when you sign up for any of these things, look at the contract and rules, terms and conditions. That's the word.
Yeah.
Because they sneak in like little banks, they sneak in some extra charges in there. For ATM withdrawals, it can be kind of expensive too. So yeah, but you can. I mean, there's different ways to do it. There's also Fold app. The Fold app is actually a pretty good idea, because you're loading the Bitcoin on there. You buy gift cards. So yeah, so like you say, similar to what you said. So you're loading a gift card for like, let's say $200 in Bitcoin or something like this. You won't get the increase in the value of the Bitcoin, but you can use this gift card at Walmart, or I don't know if they have Walmart or near, but they have like some other places like PF Chang, something like that, these places. But yeah, like with the Coinbase card, and they're coming out with another one. I think they started trials in the UK or something like this. I think they're coming back with a similar program, so they're probably going to put more cryptocurrencies on it. So like I said, when I had that card, then it was pretty good, because I put my Bitcoin, so the money I was spending was coming directly out of my Bitcoin wallet. It was being converted into cash, and then, being used at an ATM. So like you say, if it's sitting on my Coinbase wallet, I was getting the increase in value, increase in equity.
Right.
As it's
Right. Got it. So, so we are now to the point to where we bought our 5 coins, and we want to be able to get it over to our offline cold storage wallet, the Trezor. So what I did personally is I sent it over to, and I can't remember why I was told this. This is why, in the beginning, you just want to be told what to do. So what I was told to do was get an Exodus wallet, and I sent my coins from Coinbase over to Exodus. Now, at that point in time, let's say that I had $200 in Bitcoin. when I sent it over, there was some funky stuff. It's like I couldn't just send $200. It said not enough funds to send $200. So you have to keep in mind they need to take their cut out of that on Coinbase, right? Before you can send it.
No, they it's like I mean, if I might come with them for like 2000s. No, what they often do is like if you're a new customer, it's kind of like sometimes banks. They will allow you so much in terms of withdrawals, so much in terms of deposits. So if you're brand new, then you have to have a certain amount of time before you can
Yes.
deposits.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. That's what it was.
That's the thing. And they've been changing it a lot because when they first started, it was like there was no I mean, I started with limitations too. So you had to like do a little bit, of transactions here, and then the next month or so many days here, you get more, you would be able to do more transactions. And so that's the thing. And so like I was gonna say, so if you're buying it, and so that's where it does operate like a little bit like a bank, because it's not, you've got some intermediary in there telling you how much you can do, how much you can do, what you can do, what you can't do. So that's the pros and cons of using something like Coinbase, like and you do pay sometimes a premium if you're buying them. So we're talking like, let's sidestepping the exchange, and let's say you wanted to buy direct with cash to the market, you do sometimes pay a premium when you're trying to buy directly off the market, let's say off local Bitcoins or local Monero. So you're going to pay a little bit of premium on that too as well. So it won't be as cheap as going on the exchange, because the exchange is working on volume, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Coinbase is literally shut down for the number of new subscribers and customers.
Right.
So and now in a bull market, sometimes the whole service crashes, right? Because they just have such a huge volume. It's all based upon volume. Binance and all these others are based upon all these volumes. They're not just individual retail customers, but also institutions, right? Like Fidelities or trust funds or things like that that are now as part of the market too.
Right.
Hedge funds too.
Right. So everybody should know that I remember now with Exodus, because I freaked out. And that's what I want to do, is keep you from freaking out like I did. Is because I did whatever.
Yeah. You're like, what the hell? This is my money.
Yeah. So when I had everything on, I had all of my money. So let's just say we have the $1,000 and you got your Trezor wallet and you're wanting to be able to transfer things over to Exodus to be able to. What happens with Exodus is you can hook it into your computer and you can go through the process to where it'll marry up with your Exodus. So what is on your computer screen is what's on your Trezor, and you can actually click on your computer if you want to see what's in your Exodus wallet or what's in your Trezor wallet, and you can transfer the coins from your Exodus wallet right over on the screen to your Trezor wallet. So you're able to see what you're doing on your computer screen, but it's happening through a connection into your Trezor through the USB. Now, but before I could get it off of Coinbase over to Exodus, it wasn't allowing me to. And then, one day I was able to, let's say I had $10,000 and I wanted to send it all 10,000. Well, I didn't fund it all at once. So 5,000 funded one day, let's say, and 5,000 the next day. Well, I think they say you have to keep it there for 10 business days before you can transfer it out.
They're starting out. Yeah, they have. I mean, I've been with them so long, it's like I can't remember what the limitations are. There's certain. Yeah, I started with the same thing. It was like so many days of having an account and so many transactions you could increase the buying amount.
Right.
And it had to be like after a certain period of time. I mean, and it's been so long since I use them for small things now, but like I was gonna say, so yeah, so when we're talking to Trezor too, the Trezor I should say, like I said, Trezor does have that interface where you can go straight to the Trezor website, connect it to your hardware wallet. You can just basically interact with that directly. So you can send those coins, as long as they're supported by the Trezor wallet itself, you can send them straight to your Trezor wallet.
Okay, that's great to know. That's great.
So it's actually a lot easier. So they also have new services too. They have Trezor Buy. They have like you can buy stuff with Bitcoin as well, or cryptocurrencies, certain ones that they support for merchants. I think it's through a third-party service. That's an exchange service. that you can also exchange cryptocurrencies, which I've done within the wallet itself.
Yeah,
So you don't need the Exodus wallet. Like what happened is a lot of people were,
that's good
um,
to know.
a lot of people wanted to buy Monero. So through those Trezor app with that application, you can't buy Monero because the Trezor is, because what people were saying is, from what I'm hearing is that because like let's say a Bitcoin related coin and Ethereum coin has basically the same code base. So what it is that for a lot of the hardware wallet companies, they have to set up a whole new set of software and applications specifically for Monero. And some of them want to do it, some of them don't. So that's the thing that was happening where Exodus is taking the effort and actually set up that kind of interface exchange. You can cryptocurrencies in Monero because they weren't supporting Monero for a very long time as well. So they just brought on Zcash recently, but so it was so I've been with them since 2016 or something like that. But like when it first came out to the market, I jumped on it. It was a new toy to play with, but it's so that was the thing. So and you have to look at the website of Trezor or Ledger and see what they support. So Ledger has Ledger Live, which is desktop application. So you can kind of see that was the thing. Trezor doesn't have the desktop application like Ledger does. Ledger has Ledger Live, which is a desktop application, which is the same thing, interacting with their app directly to your wallet.
Okay.
Through their servers as well. So,
so how do you let's go 101 here. So you have your wallet on Coinbase, and let's say you're going to send it to Exodus, just as an intermediary in my case. How are you sending coins from Coinbase to the Exodus wallet? I don't know anything. I know that you can, there's a buy, there's a withdrawal. So I presume that you have to figure out that your Exodus wallet has a key or a destination key that you're going to send it to.
It is so all of the basic concept on a lot of these cryptocurrencies will be what's called a public address. Excuse me, public address. Public address is like your bank account, right?
Okay.
Your bank account password. So the public address, I can deposit money to your bank account if I know what into your bank account if I know your bank account number, right? With your bank. But I can't take the money out. Do you understand? I can put money in.
It would be like having a tracking number, right? It's like the front of your check, to where if you give the routing number and the checking number, somebody can.
I think it's a little bit different, but yeah, because routing numbers specifically for that bank. But and then the bank would of course, disperse the money to appropriate account. But so if I know your bank account, which is your public address, we can compare it to a bank account. Yes, I can deposit money in a bank account, but I can't take the money out because I don't have the authorization to do that. I don't have the key or the passwords to do that, right? So that's all it is. And so like you're saying, so you can send it. You don't need it's not a private key. You're just sending it to that public address, depositing the money in there. And then when you want to spend the money from your own account, then you do need that code, I should say, or private key to send money out for that particular wallet.
Yeah, and don't they, if memory serves, if you're going to send it out or whatever, they don't make you provide all, let's say it's 12 keywords. They may say
no, the keyword is it's what's called a recovery phrase. So the recovery phrase is in case, let's say you're updating the wallet or something gets corrupted in the software of the wallet that's stored in a computer, let's say, then the recovery phrase will help you to recover that wallet, to basically re-download it, restart it, kind of thing.
Okay, and also if you would
recover anything that might be lost, or let's say the hard drive of your computer gets corrupted and you can't get into the wallet, right? As a virus or the data gets corrupted. Well, you can take that recovery phrase, get a new computer, put the application on that new computer, and then recover that wallet.
And so for us old folks, it means that, if your computer goes kaput and you have to buy a new computer, you can launch another your same email account. All of your emails are going to be, you just have to load the new email, into your new computer. And
exactly. Yeah.
So all right. So now you ultimately sync it up and you have your crypto coins on your Trezor, and then you take that apart. Now, what I learned through doing some research is I also ordered off of Amazon. I ordered.
Oh, the crypto steel.
What's that?
Is it the crypto steel?
No, not the crypto steel. Well, I did that too, but yeah, I did the bill photo, which allows you to basically, it has these etched letters and numbers, so it allows you to be able to put all of your keywords. So if there's ever any kind of fire, you're never going to lose those. It'll never burn up. I have learned since, somebody said there's something called stone tablets out there, to where you can do the same thing, to where you can just you can write your keywords into a tablet, and then it's less expensive than if you.
That's cool.
But an alternative way is, look, you just want to you want to make sure that those keywords that are associated with your treasure, that if you get hit by a bus, you want to know that your wife or your progeny or whomever, that isn't just a perpetual paperweight, right? That they will have the instructions to be able to go in there.
Planning.
Yeah. So when I was talking to you about the notebook and being able to write in the notebook, what I personally did is I have my all of my passwords to everything on a couple of sheets of paper. And I ordered off of Amazon. There are these, I think it's like maybe 11 by 13. It's a bag. It's a fireproof bag. And so what I did was I took my paper that had all of the passwords, and I photocopied those in my home photocopier. And I hope that's not, I mean, it was just a direct copy, so that's not stored anywhere. I don't think that's hackable. Maybe maybe you'll say, no, you don't do that, Todd, but
Do it.
what's okay. So I photocopied those, and then I took one set, it's 2 pages, have all my passwords and keywords. I put them with my my laptop computer that I have personally. It's an older one that I have dedicated to my crypto world, and my treasure. I put it all and I zipped it up. So, and that include, so now I have all my passwords in there, but it does include, it's called a billfodl, BILFODL. I also did that, but I don't think you need to have that. I think it's a real good idea. And if we can especially find, and I'm going to search for it and find it, I'll give a recommendation. But if I can find that stone tablet, that sounds really cool too. And I think it's less expensive because you can write more stuff on it. But bottom line is, you got to protect that. That is your money. If you lose that, if it burns, if you forget it, if you don't store it with your treasure, I mean, all of us have forgotten passwords. We suck, our memories aren't great. And so, but what you want to do, like what I do, is I have mine in the fireproof bag, and I put it in my home safe. Okay. However, if something ever happened to that, I also have a backup one that I took that fireproof bag, and I took those same sheets of paper, that now if somebody came and smashed my home and got into the safe or stole it or whatever, first thing I'd do is I'd go and I would find my backup copies. I have another backup copy in another room in my home, and I'm putting the other one in my safety deposit box. Bottom line is, if you would ever lose that treasure, you want to be able to quickly go online to treasure.io and be able to protect your money. And I wrote very specific instructions to my family on what to do when they open that bag. If I get hit by a bus, I want them to open that bag. And basically my message was, y'all are smart enough to figure this out, but what I recommend is you find someone, you trust, who knows their shit about crypto, and just have them help walk you through this. And you can recover the funds that are in here. but that's what it's all about. It's just, and for me, it's kind of like, I have one other little secret here that I'm going to tell everybody. It's called Blockfolio. Blockfolio. It's an app. And what you can do is you can put what sucks about the treasure being locked away is that you don't get the dopamine hits of having it on your exchange to where you can go see what it's worth, right? But with Blockfolio, you can just press that and you can manually plug in whatever number. Like the other day, I sent like another 0.2 Bitcoin to it, or 0.02. It was something. It was like, $1,000, a couple $1,000. And I put it on there. Well, now that treasure is worth more. So I went and I updated my Blockfolio and I added 0.02 to it, to my Bitcoin. So now when I get the little hits, the portfolio hits, now I can see what's happening in my offline treasure. So it's good for dopamine, all of it.
Yeah.
It's a little vice that, you don't get lung cancer and you don't get drunk, and, we like dopamine in the Uncle Odd family. So I really, really, really recommend that. But that is about, I think, as 101 as you can get. Now, that was a long way to get there. And I will tell you, here's a little cheat code. You can go to YouTube. You can type in Crypto 101. You can buying Bitcoin 101. You can figure it out. What I wanted to do is kind of, give you my bit of experience as a newbie, that you can kind of simplify it. If you just know to download Coinbase, get a treasure, I guess with treasure.io, you can go right to your treasure. So you don't have to go through an Exodus exchange, but within Exodus, you can trade some coins for some other stuff. So it might not be a bad idea to get that anyway. So that's what I did. And I guess on Exodus, you can exchange some of your crypto for Monero, and just trust us. You want to be able to ultimately have Monero in your portfolio. But what's cool, man, is there's a lot of coins out there. I mean, there are 7,000 crypto coins and growing, but there are a dozen of them that are kind of like blue chip, right? And this last month has just been a really good month, and it's very exciting. And what's happening is you have like Elon Musk. He invested $1.5 billion of Tesla's treasury, the money that they had in their bank. He invested that in Bitcoin. And man, oh man, when he did that this past week, it's like that influx into Bitcoin, just what it did is it validated it. You can now pay for your Tesla using Bitcoin. They want you to. But here's what you may have missed. You know what happened to their P&L when they moved that 1.5 billion over into Bitcoin? Now they have 1.5 in Bitcoin, but because now they validated it, just because of that move, they increased the value of the whole freaking market. So that 1.5 billion is now worth 2 billion, in a week. They haven't made that much money ever, just because they invested. So what's going to happen? You're going to have a lot of other companies that are going to do the same thing. It will become a fiduciary irresponsibility to not have in your portfolio as a CFO, to not have cryptocurrency as at least 10 to 15%. So when that happens, those who are in now, those are in now. Just imagine if you would have gotten in at $2 or $3 or $5 or $20 on Bitcoin. It's not too early. That's the whole point. So let's just dive into the shallow end head first together, and just take $1,000 and just do it. Start ugly, learn ugly, and that's okay. And if you want to go to Uncle Vigilante chat, Uncle Vigilante chat in Telegram, and I set up a chat there, and I promise you, hang in there, subscribe to the Uncle. I keep wanting to say the Uncle Odd Show because that's those are all my deleted channels, but Uncle Vigilante, subscribe to Uncle Vigilante, smash that like button or and the notification bell. And when we go live stream, this one is recorded because we're too early to be able to live stream this. Wish we could have, but we will continue to. And I already have 2 other guests that are coming on this week that are going to be fantastic. And we're going to learn a little bit from all of them. And that's the journey here, right? I mean, if you just pick up a little thing, right? I mean, you've been at it for 6 years, right, Worldly Traveler?
Yeah, I've been at it for 6 years. Yeah.
6 years. So right now you do it in your sleep. How much would you say, you don't have to tell me if you don't want, but how much of your portfolio now are you just comfortable that you're buying and holding, or do you do a lot of trading on a daily basis?
No, I don't do a lot of trading, no, because I'm more of a long-term hold kind of person. So,
Yeah.
My personal portfolio, but that's what I was going to tell you about the 5 pillars. So it's like I was going to say, yeah. So the principles were that I learned from the banking industry.
Okay.
Was and most people in the United States don't realize is with Patriot Act 1 and 2, because it's never ever happened a ways ago, right? So most people, young people never even experienced that event, right? Because it happened before they were born.
Yes.
But the U.S. had changed radically a lot of the banking laws and regulations. We had FinCEN and we had FATCA. So what most people don't realize, when I worked for Capital One, and it was the banking industry can monitor any of your transactions because Patriot Act 1 and 2 basically gave them the power to do so. So if you put too much cash into your bank account, take too much cash out on a regular basis, the threshold was like if you put 9,000, what is it, over $9,000, $10,000 in your bank account, automatically gets reported to the IRS. That still happens. But what Patriot Act 1 and 2 happened was that they decided, that U.S. government did, well, we want to know everything because this might be connected to terrorism, might be connected to this, might be connected to that. Because they were trying to fight against money laundering, terrorism, drug dealing, all this kind of thing. So what happens is that without notice, they can shut down your bank account. You're taking too much cash in, taking too much cash out without notice. And what I see in the banking industry is I would have customers come in there and the bank account would be shut down and be frozen. And they would have no idea why. There was no explanation. The bank doesn't have to contact you. The bank doesn't have to notify you because under suspicion, they can just shut it down.
Wow.
And most Americans don't realize that. Second thing that I found out, and it's actually fairly old. I can't remember what year it comes from. So, I had a customer come into the bank one day, and it was kind of funny. She's like, so we had this 45-page contract, right? And every bank gives you a contract, right? Most of us just flip through it, don't pay attention. So she had said, what does this say over here? And I said, well, yeah, show me what it is. And she said, and it was like with savings account, she says, well, we reserve the right, but we may not ever have to, for you to give us 7 days written notice, business days written notice before you withdraw money out of your own savings account. We reserve the right to do that. So that has been set in place. And I forgot what year they set it in place. It's fairly recent that on savings accounts, they could have a bank holiday over the weekend and you would never get your money back because you would have to give them the 7 business days written notice. So that is and most people don't really, that's actually a federal law. It's not just, I've forgotten which, that's Treasury law, I think. But anyways, so most people have no idea that with, like I said, Patriot Act 1 and 2, with this older law, that banks are not in that custodial position. They're also judge and jury of what your financial transactions are. So with that inspired me to get fully on crypto, because I realized that, like I said, it's my 5. I have these sort of 5 pillars in my mind, but it's one is because it's pseudo anonymous except for Bitcoin, but it's like it's secure. I have control over it, and it can be private. Nobody knows if I have it if I don't tell them, and it's under my control because with the banking industry, it's merged and sort of folded over into this government monitoring agency as well. So like I said, they can close it, shut it down. And how would you feel if And they got you kind of in a catch-22. So let's say you have 100 grand in your account. Okay, let's shut it down. We suspect you might be money laundering. We suspect you might be involved in some criminal activity. So you're gonna have to hire a lawyer to get it back. And how much would it cost to hire the lawyer to get it back, to get that money back for you? Right? And, so that goes with my philosophy. We're going to have somebody to know money, or if we have some kind of national emergency or some kind of conditions, or even if it was Hurricane Katrina, people can get money out of their account because of because a lot of the banks shut down their ATMs, because the hurricane of course created some damage and all that. So you do have to have some kind of financial options. It's like another choice. For me, it was the right choice, because I had control, and then that's about it. I would know where it was. I had control of it. I was involved with a decentralized network like Bitcoin. So, there was no chance that the government could ever shut it down.
So that was the attraction for you, just because you have that financial background.
So I'm all in, but I mean, that's part of my lifestyle, but that's a philosophy too, as well. Like the capitalist philosophy.
Is this what do you do for a living, or are you just an early investor and you don't have to?
No, I'm starting, I'm working on a consulting business. So that's, what do we call it? Private banking, basically, like secure creditor, private banking, which is a different area. And I have, like I said, I have a background, a degree in master's in international development studies, project planning and management. So I have an economic background as well, emerging. So I look for business investment projects in emerging economies like Brazil, Colombia, things like that.
So are you kind of a nomad? You call yourself world traveler. Are you kind of a nomad?
Yeah, I'm a digital nomad.
A digital nomad. That's very cool. And so you're in Mexico now?
Yeah, I'm in Acapulco.
Okay.
I'm here for the Acapulco conference.
Oh, excellent. Excellent.
Yeah. I come here every year.
That's fun. How many years have you gone?
God, it's been since 2017. So like 4 years.
Wow. Yeah. I always watch Jeff Berwick's, the Dollar Vigilante.
I haven't followed him for years. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I just I like a good cigar, and so I go on cigar walks. And
yeah, I saw that on your channel. Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah, and I just love listening to him when I go on the cigar walks, because he just, I'm a lot smarter after I listen to him, and he just has such a wonderful personality. So good for you. I'm jealous that you're there. And I want to thank you, because you were just literally so kind in reaching out. And that's what I found about this community, is it just seems that there's a lot of people who are just open to help. And it's very cool. I mean, it's like you recognize that I'm a newbie, that there are a ton of us out there, and you're willing to give your time and sage counsel. And I think, I predict that in a year from now, I'm not going to feel like that much of a newbie. And maybe there'll be some people who will say, wow, that guy really knows what he's talking about. Or maybe not. I don't know. But it all starts somewhere, right? I just think that's why I preach with this now. Just start ugly. Start ugly, and start with a small amount that look, we should all not invest anything that we, can't afford to lose. So that's kind of the moral of it. But start with $1,000, just, and I will tell you, the Trezor, that's probably, $175 or something like that, a couple $100. So there's a little startup cost in getting into this safely, but you want to do it safely.
Yeah, I mean, the advantage of, like, if you're a newbie, you're starting out, let's say you're going from Coinbase, the new in the US, because there's different exchanges for overseas customers. But if you get the Exodus wallet and you just start just a little bit, then that you could use as well, and then you can later on get the Trezor wallet, then have it, the extra layer of security of the Trezor wallet with your Ledger Exodus account.
Okay.
Or like I said, or you could, let's say in the beginning, you could move the Coinbase funds, cryptocurrencies, over to Exodus, and then you get the Trezor wallet, and you say, well, I just want to, put it directly to the Trezor app. You can do that through that way too, the online app. But like I said, the Trezor wallet does link well with the with the Exodus wallet. Gives that extra layer of security. And I was going to show you a quick view of Acapulco.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow. Wow, that's awesome. That's beautiful.
It is beautiful out here, but like I was going to say, yeah, like you're but I mean, the other thing too is to realize, like you say, the community, a lot of it's based upon the ANCAP philosophy. And that's what one thing that most people forget, kind of cracks me up in a way, because I had to read it myself because I did get involved with Bitcoin thread, is the Bitcoin white paper. Because it's more than just a technical piece, it also contains like the philosophy, the thoughts of Satoshi Nakamoto when he originated Bitcoin. Why did he originate? You're talking about the 2008 stock market crash, the flash crash, which I lost money in, not really lost money, but lost value. Recovered, you know, because it dropped, my accounts dropped about 50% stocks and came back up again. Had to like, you know, had to like bite your fingernails and grind your teeth, right? So that was a sharp drop. But the idea was he wanted to create a deflationary currency that would not be controlled by the government, that would be independent and decentralized, and would be a one-to-one peer network that we as a community could develop and progress and improve upon, you know. And there's been and you have to think about that, the consensus algorithm that was created by him, basically. So the system had already existed before this. Banks had already used this system of ledgers, online ledgers, to settle their accounts internationally. It wasn't new. The consensus algorithm, which he created, created a centralized network of computers that could use the same ledger and agree on the same set of accounts and create this database that we could all internationally use, and it's expanded worldwide. So like a lot of people, like I said, read the Bitcoin white paper, because from bitcoin.org, and get the philosophy of it, and realize that this created a revolution, because it started in 2009 as a reaction, a way to deal with the currency crisis, the fiat money experiments that we've been going through, inflation for several years from central banks. So it was and I would suggest people read, because it's not written in a very technical language, except when you come to the algorithms, more technical for me, people like me. But the philosophy of it is very easy to read, very easy to understand, very clear. And he did put in within the Genesis block something I mentioned. I think it was a headline of from the 2008 flash crash. So I think most people, and so what happened is that the thing is, because people realized, right, the concept was banks are too big to fail. Oh my God, JP Morgan, this one, that one. So the government just loaned out money to them. But the money that they've given to the banks, as well as with all these, what you call it, you know, stimulus packages, has created widespread inflation. And so Bitcoin is kind of like the barometer of that widespread inflation we're experiencing. It's rising to $40,000 for several reasons, but one of the reasons is because we are dealing with widespread high inflation throughout the world. That's why it's rising, because it is limited in supply. So it's, you know, deflationary currency, but we're dealing with inflationary dollars and assets that are just exploding because the banks are printing money, because they're sort of printing money to save their own friends, in my opinion, to save their own friends within the banking industry, because the banking industry should have taken the losses on a lot. There was CDOs, mortgage-backed securities. There's 1,000 things that they did wrong.
Yeah, right.
They should have had the losses, and then we would have, you know, economy would have recovered. They should have taken the losses. But no, let's bail out the banks. Let's bail out the banks. We can't crash this economy. So that's in that philosophy of the anarcho-capitalist philosophy of Satoshi Nakamoto and then the Bitcoin white paper. And that's why I suggest people read it, because it's very easy to read. I won't take you too long. You can skim through it and get that sense of the philosophy of why this whole sort of movement, this decentralized cryptocurrency movement, started.
That's awesome. I'm going to do that. I'll actually do a show on it. We'll dedicate to
easy to read in some like minutes.
Yeah.
But it gets you to the idea of why, like as you're talking about your experience with the 2008 flash crash, was a moment of sort of an epiphany of sorts, like, whoa, this is something I don't have control of, right? You know, my money's gone, and like the bankers get bailed out, but I don't get bailed out.
Exactly.
You know? Wouldn't you love $1 billion bailout? You know, if you lost money in the stock market, yeah, of course we would.
Oh, and you know, before then, and before then we were you know, spoiled, because it kind of felt like the tree was going to grow to the sky. And
inflation. It was all inflation. It was, I mean, it was just very low cost, very low interest rates. I mean,
Yeah.
when I was younger back when the mid 80s, I mean, those interest rates were at least 11%. That was for money markets. I mean,
Right.
now we have almost negative interest rates. I mean,
Yes.
and for decades. I mean, it's starting.
Yeah,
When they want to stimulate the economy, they've done this almost like 2 decades.
that's right. That's right. And
And so
that's why when
savers are not really receiving anything for saving. We're receiving incentives to spend, to borrow more and spend more and spend more and borrow more. We're not receiving any incentives to save. Bitcoin shows you what it means to save and actually preserve your capital.
well, I think that I personally feel accountable to my to my collection of wallets. I'm thinking about it more. I'm thinking about I can't wait until my next paycheck to be able to just kind of do it that dollar cost average thing, which
Yeah,
I'm
exactly. The way to do it.
which I'm going to be committed to. Which, frankly, over the last decade, I haven't been disciplined at that. A little bit. I mean, I've kept it, but it just stays in the bank, and it's like, it stares.
Well, there's nothing wrong with having cash in the bank, and nothing wrong with having diversified assets, IRA, 401k, stocks. I mean, Bitcoin could be a small part of that portfolio, but let's say if you have 10% of your portfolio in Bitcoin, you don't have to throw it all in. But if it rises like 10 times what you originally put in, then it could off balance,
Yeah.
maybe losses in another area of your portfolio. So you can at least,
Okay, that brings up another point, because I think this is very important for those getting into this new. So when I did my first installment into XRP when Coinbase was trading it, I think I put $10,000 in, and it went up to $15,000. Like, I just timed it right, like within days. It was like up at $15,000. So I took $5,000 off the table and I put it into Bitcoin. Okay. Now I'm excited about that. I'm thinking, man, I'm going to start diversifying, doing this. But then I'm like, wait a minute. I created a taxable event. So the IRS is going to get that $5,000 I pulled off the table as profit. And so now I'm going to have to report that, and I'm going to be paid at my tax rate because I wasn't even thinking that way. So you have to just know that you create a taxable event, which is why I was so curious about getting truly private, because I thought,
we have talked about it, and I said, that couple things for me were getting confused when you were talking about. So looking at what Coinbase has put out as a directive, so if you're selling, it's like commodities, right? If you're buying gold and you're buying gold bars at $100 and then it goes to $500 and you sell it through your dealer or some kind of exchange and you have $300 profit on that, you're supposed to be reporting it with as capital gains, right? For capital gains with the IRS. Depends upon what your status with the IRS is too, because a secured creditor, something's a little bit different. You operate privately, or you could do things different in terms of a business trust or personal common law trust, pure common law trust. I'm sorry, but it's like I mean, and so there was a little confusion in the early years because they were kind of throwing things around and rumors, but if you're taking that asset, like let's say the XRP and you hadn't sold it and you're transferring, like we were talking about earlier, to a hardware wallet, and you still maintain possession of it, you haven't transferred it to anybody, or you haven't distributed it to any your heirs or your descendants or something like that to someone else, then it's not a taxable event. But if you're selling it on a cryptocurrency exchange like Coinbase, which is reporting your transactions anyways, keeping track of them, then that could be, because you're taking a profit, then of course it's capital gains.
Okay, so but if I take it from Coinbase and I put it over to Exodus and I'm just exchanging for another currency, that's not a capital gains, right?
Well, it's not. It's a private transaction, right? I mean, it is up to you whether you report it or not. It's a private transaction that nobody basically has a record of, right? Yeah.
Okay,
So,
bingo. You just answered my question, because that's I'm not Uncle Odd isn't really in the mood to just graciously give the IRS, the government, my money. So what I understand is, if I get it off of Coinbase into Exodus, and if I then just take $5,000 of what I have in my Bitcoin portfolio, and I swap it so that now I have $5,000 of Monero, because I think Monero is going to go up, or I like that coin for whatever reason.
Well, we can also kind of like, back up to that too as well. So if you're not, that's where I have to look at the ruling. I forgot. But anyway, so let's say you're swapping it for Monero, but you haven't sold it for dollars. So
Right.
so if you're not selling it for US dollars, it may or may not be considered a taxable event because you're not selling it for US dollars. Do you understand what I mean? You're swapping for one commodity to the next, right?
Okay,
so
I got to figure that out. I think that's
no, I have to look at the ruling because Coinbase had some, and it's recently on their website. That doesn't mean it's like the IRS. It's supposedly this is what they've derived from the IRS ruling.
Because in Coinbase, I don't think you can do a swap, right?
Well, because one of the things that the IRS had a problem with is volatility, right? So yeah, let's say you take 10,000, 15,000, sorry, XRP, buy Monero with it. Well, Monero might crash tomorrow in price. Bitcoin might crash tomorrow in price. So that $5,000 technically of USD value might go to $2,000, $1,000 USD value. So they're so volatile in the markets, nobody knows kind of totally with going from one cryptocurrency to another is a little bit different than going from dollars from cryptocurrency to US dollars. You know what I mean? You've actually created
but would the IRS give a shit if you said, hey, you know what? Yeah, sure. I took $5,000 off the table and I put it into XRP or I put it into Monero, and Monero went to zero the next week. So I lost money. So can't you offset? Can't you also demonstrate that you have?
I mean, if you're doing it through like Exodus, I mean, there's technically a record of it, so it's up to you whether you want to report it or not.
But Exodus isn't reporting it to the IRS.
No, like I said, Exodus is not a custodial exchange, so it operates different. This is an interface. It's an interface. Like say if you went to local Monero and bought something for cash, some coins for cash over there, or local Bitcoins, not keeping a record, so you're like, that's a personal transaction, right?
Okay. So if I ultimately just want to be able to have my little nest egg that stays, because I'm like you, I'm a long-term guy. I'm happy. I personally think that Bitcoin is going to go to $1 million or more, over time. And whether that happens in 5 years or 10 years or whatever, I think it's going that direction. And I think all of these coins, even though I don't understand a freaking thing about them and how they become value in the first place, but I'm just going to take everyone's word for it. But it seems to me like the ones that have utility, that they're going to head north too. So this is kind of like being back in the day when you sure wished you would have invested in Apple stock,
Yeah, exactly.
and held.
Yeah, because it's a new technology, has a lot of potential.
Yeah, and held. So personally, I think buy and hold right now is the way to go, and it does become tempting, but kind of not really. It's like everything is in the green these days. But I imagine you have experienced going through the sprints to where everything's been in the red for months and months.
Oh yeah. Recently, I mean, people, we're loving. If you're a long-term cryptocurrency holder or buyer or trader, whatever, or even active trader, yeah, you're going to be loving it. A bull market like this because, of course, we had like almost 4 years of a crypto winter, and then like last year, of course, when just before the around when the pandemic hit, it was Bitcoin's 14,000, and just dropped down to like 3. So that was a brutal move, right? But traders though, like I say, like long-term holders, this for traders it can be a good time to buy puts, to kind of short the market, something like that. For long-term buyers or holders, then it could be a good time to buy. After a big dip like that, you could dollar cost average at the bottom or buy at the bottom of the market and then work your way up, which I've done too in the past. But yeah, I mean it's definitely gut wrenching, because it's like being on a roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
But I mean now we're enjoying experiencing this new upward trending market. Things looking all rosy and beautiful. But I mean, it's volatile market. It's all new technologies like the .com kind of boom and bust.
Yeah.
But this is a little bit different than that. That was based upon like fiat currency based.
I was part of part of the Priceline.com phenomenon. I remember it was I remember the room where the first two servers were, and and you talk about bubble. There was a point to where our company was worth more than all of the airlines combined. Price.
Wow,
It was
amazing.
freaking crazy. But then, poof! When that bubble burst, $8 billion gone. $8 billion value.
Yeah, overnight. Yeah.
It was.
Well, the crypto, you know, it's kind of like, and people do have to realize that, yeah, this is all brand new, very experimental. It's still in that development phase. And Bitcoin, you know, is on a nice bull run terror, but it's going to have a pullback, as they call it, right? People should realize that. Like you need to talk about newbies, especially newbies. You know, dollar cost average your way in. It's my advice for probably the person with $1,000, like over 10 months, let's say, you could just invest $100 a month, you know, and just not buy it all in one lump sum. There are things like Bitcoin IRAs too as well. So, you know, if you want that tax deferred value, you know, if you're going full KYC, kind of traditional, like financial investing and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, just that's my advice. Dollar cost your average your way into the top, and then maybe we get a little toppy, maybe you slow down on buying, or you dollar cost average your way to the bottom. If you're thinking of holding it for like several years, right? Like you have to almost think almost 20, 30 years out. This could be part of your inheritance planning, right? You know, or your estate planning, sorry. You know, like for your children, your grandchildren, your estate, for your retirement, maybe, you know, that could be part of your investment portfolio. You know, because so going, you know, thinking that further into the future, thinking of, well, I'm going to be buying this and holding on to it for a long period of time, especially with Bitcoin, Ethereum, you know, and just thinking about that long-term asset planning. I mean, or even, you know, like, you know, because I have its utility in the future. So, you know, I could throw, but, you know, and like I said, it all depends upon like financial goals, people's sense of risk, because some people like to gamble, like to, you know, trade and all that. So that's perfectly fine too. If you want to do it that way, you can do it that way. You just have to be prepared for the ups and downs. But
can I ask you a question?
That long term would probably be the best way.
Can I ask you a question? I have 4 daughters. So can I get them set up on, like, if I wanted to gift them $1,000, can I set up like a treasure? Let's just pretend that I got 4 treasures or whatever. Can I set up accounts for them and fund it for them, but then they end up having control of it, or no?
Yeah, you could do. I mean, you could set up a treasure for them. Sure. I mean, that's not hard to do. I mean, you can either do that, or you can create sub accounts under that particular treasure Bitcoin wallet, or that Bitcoin wallet. You can sort sub wallets, sub accounts.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, and the reason why I ask is I had a gentleman, he's in his 70s. He knew that I was gonna start doing some of these shows with some experts, and he said, hey, you know, his daughter in particular, she's just never gonna get into it on her own. So he asked, you know, is there a way that I can do it for her? And he's
you know, he can. I mean, you know, I mean, he could do it for her. That's one choice, like using a treasure wallet, or custodial account could be a possibility. You know, you can. I mean, you can create, set up a treasure wallet for her, and then you, like you're saying, you know, part of your estate planning would be, you know, giving the person instructions, you know, how to use it, how to access the funds.
For them to get that treasure because of the KYC, are they then, if you give them all of the seed words and everything on that treasure, if you set up to buy those coins initially using your KYC, and then those coins end up with them, are they ever able to get those out to where they own them and they're theirs? I guess I'm kind of confused and even asking the question, but you know what I mean?
It's kind of funny. Yeah. No. So yeah. So the best, it would be their property. So it is property. Now the thing, like we have to get back to that point of, like, as you kind of head back towards what would you call it, tax obligations, tax liability. Yeah. There. You know, so what was I going to say? So what would happen is, so transferring it to another person, technically, yeah, okay, you got an exchange, but if you put in a hardware wallet, and let's say it goes in possession of the person. Well, I mean, that's not necessarily sold or distributed. I mean, it can be, I mean, it all depends upon the ruling, but let's just say this, that, I mean, technically, if they haven't sold it, they haven't done anything with it, it's their property, right? How you report it, if you ever had to do some, what do you call it, probate or something like this. I mean, but it's because it's private in this case. So if it's on the wallet, hardware wallet, I mean, it would be that person's property, right? Whether you give it to them when let's say you had daughters, or they were under 18 or something, given when you turn 18 or something like that. It would be the same as if you were like a trust fund kind of thing, situation where.
Well, wouldn't it be the same? Wouldn't it be the same if somebody came into my house and ripped off that little fireproof bag that has my treasure and all the keywords, and they went and.
I was going to say that there's a new system too as well. I'm going to try it out. There's new wallets that use micro SD card, so you don't have to use the written seed phrases and stuff like that anymore. You can use God, is it like a little code, the screen code that you can QR code, that's the word. It's like a QR code, a little bit different than QR codes. So you can reactivate or get those seed phrases using the QR codes. I think it's called cold storage. So there are new things coming out that are just a level, because like you say, yeah, well, you're screwed if you use if you ever lose the seed phrase and you have to reactivate, recover that wallet, you're screwed, right? So now we're having that next level of technology come out, next level of innovation, which is you put on a little micro SD card and it stores it for you. And then, you don't have to be scrambling around, going, oh my God, I've lost this, I can't reactivate this wallet, I can't recover it, kind of thing. So that's another technology. I can send you a link to that one. It's very interesting. Jameson Lopp talks about it. So he's Bitcoin.
Who are some of your go-to people that you wake up, the beginning of every month, that you're like, I'm subscribing to this channel, or this person is really important to me, that's a leader?
YouTube or something like that, or people I follow.
YouTube, or where do you get your counsel so that you are smarter about your investments moving forward?
Well, for crypto, I mean, like, do a little plug, the Uncle Vigilante, the Crypto Vigilante, do a little plug for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been following him for years, and his crew, coming in Acapulco. The other thinkers in the space, they're not a computer programmer, so I'm not going to say I'm a programmer and like conversing on all of this technology, but Andreas Antonopoulos, Trace Mayer, who I've met at an Acapulco like a few years ago. Tone Vase, I met him at an Acapulco as well. Roger Ver, another person met at an Acapulco. So a lot of people met at an Acapulco in this space. Crypto is a young guy who's a blogger or YouTuber. He talks about cryptocurrencies in the space. He's great. And I met him in Acapulco as well. So I met a lot of great thinkers. God, who else would it be? Tone Vase, and then Jimmy Song is very good. And I follow what he has to say. And there's a lot of because I like conflicting opinions, right? Because when we're talking XRP, like we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
With XRP, it's sunlight here. But what was I going to say with XRP? It's there's with Tone Vase, he talks about crypto scams, and so he's very down on it. But I like to give different viewpoints. Because it's kind of funny when they used to come there in Acapulco, like you would talk about, like the Bitcoin programmers, they would go like, oh my God, Bitcoin's great, maximalist. Yeah. And then you'd say, well, what about this other technology? Like Ethereum's trash. Ethereum's horribly broken.
Right.
Dash is crap.
Right.
So they would all be very tribal about things, trying to blog their own favorite cryptocurrency, their favorite platform. But it's always kind of true. But you always want, like as an investor, I want to get different opinions, because now we have, like for newbies, they're probably not so aware of it, but the decentralized finance space, which is built on the Ethereum blockchain, and now there's Polkadot, which is another new startup, sort of blockchain kind of thing. But so you're as an investor, you want to look at sometimes profit, equity, portfolio growth. So you're not necessarily married to the technology or the philosophy. Yeah. Sometimes you're also looking for opportunity, right?
So if there's 7,000,
there's a lot out there.
Yeah, if there's 7,000 coins, then
but like inspiration.
What's your beacon Like how would you decide that you're going to go ahead and invest in a new coin? Like, let's say,
Well, I also
go.
follow on YouTube. I follow in terms of the DeFi space, Lark Davis, DeFi Dad, and Chris Black. So they've actually been very informative about the DeFi space.
Okay.
And you know, and so I listen to a consensus of different opinions, and if they have something new to say, then I like jump on it. Leon Fu, I talk, listen to what he has to say. So there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of great, like the community has a lot of great thinkers, inspirational people, people active in the space, programmers, people who are interested in economics, and
Sounds to me,
Trace Mayer is great to listen to.
Sounds to me that that you can't go wrong subscribing to Crypto Vigilante. I mean, he's been pretty.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I think when we come back to the conference, what happens, a lot of people, it was for me, some of the stuff was a little high level too. We're talking about mesh nets and all this other kind of things.
Yeah.
Okay. But I can understand the newbies being like this is a good idea, like what we're doing now, because we can get questions in the future or talk. People can, because I know we can't do the live stream enough. We have a live chat and people would ask questions. Because I think a lot of people have seen the value in the Bitcoin, have seen it, basically its longevity, and that it's still around, not only in Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies, but I'm definitely interested in getting involved, right? They, like you said, they want to make the right move. How do they start investing? Where do they go? Who do they go for source of information? And this almost like it's good to have some information, but we also have you can also be overwhelmed by too much, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
That's what happened to me in the beginning. Like for me, I was fortunate when I started. There was only Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that was about it. that was about all. And then there was the explosion of a lot of ICOs under the Ethereum blockchain, mainly some under the Bitcoin. But Bitcoin's a little bit structured a little bit differently. So it's getting kind of dark here. That's sinking in darkness. But I wasn't going to say. Oh, you're sure? What I was going to say is, it's really entirely true that people will get confused in this space and not know what to do. So sometimes it's good to have some kind of friendly faces, people who are in the community that could help you navigate your way around.
Yeah, I think we're screaming for that, and that's why I think this channel is nothing now, but I think give it a year. I think this will mature to where we'll figure it out together. I mean, all I can do at this point is give my commitment that I have a big mouth and I'm going to keep talking to smart people. And I think just because of that, we should pick up a little here, a little there, and maybe it helps us through this journey, because I think it's an exciting one, and that's the other thing is, I was telling my wife, I mean, I'd never watch the news, and my office is upstairs. My man room is upstairs, so I'll watch my sports or do whatever, but I'll walk downstairs where the TV's on and she has the news on, and it is just so damn depressing. And it's like, there's nothing positive that comes out of it. And I'm telling you, since I have put my toe in the water here and I'm starting to learn it more, it is so darn fun. It's neat. It's positive. It's something positive in our lives, or just personally speaking in my life, to where I feel like it's constructive. Everything else feels like it's destructive. And then as I get to learn, more about
there's a reason for that. So, yeah, because we're going through a level we're changing systems basically. So we're if you want a broad stroke, the US going from the gold standard to the more oil-based economy, petrodollar kind of situation. Now we're going to the digital currency, cryptocurrency era revolution. We are I can't remember who said something. He said a very good statement though. But it was Vitalik Buterin said that. He says, somebody said, well, what aren't you afraid of, And someone's interviewing for an interview. He says, well, aren't you afraid you're going to be destroying jobs with all this new technology? He says, yeah, but we're destroying old jobs and creating better ones. We're creating better opportunities for people. So like when people come into the crypto space, and like I said, when I started with Bitcoin, Ethereum, like you said, yeah, to the 7,000, because you have to think about that. This is the level of innovation you can have, good and bad. There's some scam coins out there too, but the level of innovation you can have and ideas you can have when you don't have controls, when you have an open space, where this is all open source technology. Due to open source technology like Bitcoin, we have, and Ethereum and others, we have an explosion of innovation because there's no, the thing we have in our current digital space is going to be like Microsoft software. That's all, copyrighted,
Yeah.
You can't go up there and start spinning off your own copy of Microsoft software. You get sued, right? Try to even use it on a computer, a bootleg version, you'll be in jail for, not in jail, but you have a lot of issues. Apple software, Apple OS, or so the open source software revolution is also for experience. Like Cliff High talked about the software being money. And because I worked in banking, you're also seeing like synthetics, the synthetic derivatives market. So we're seeing a level of good and bad, because there's some scams out there, like I said, within the space. But we're also seeing the ability for people like you to have a whole horizon of choices they never had. You don't have to go to a bank and beg for a bank account or beg for a brokerage account. You don't need that anymore. You can just put out whatever money you want out there and participate in these markets, which is good and bad, because the problem is that we're so used to being coddled and controlled that we don't know how to think and maybe do some critical thinking about what we're looking at, right? Or get ourselves out there, because you can throw all your money out there, you can also lose your money very quickly, right? Because these markets do take some sophistication, but you can play with the big people, right? Like Bitcoin allows the average person, some of the Ethereum and other things, for us to play with the big guys. Because look what's going on, right? Bitcoin started like, let's say, a fraction of a cent, but now look at the big boys, the big people, which is the billionaires, the multi-billionaires, now jumping into the market that we as a community started.
Yeah.
They're going into our market. They're going to our playground. So we've got the first mover advantage in a way, because it's harder for them, because they can put billions in there, but as they buy more, they raise the price, right? Well, they don't want to pay at a high price, so they buy a little bit more back up. That's why I say we're going to see a bull market and probably see a pullback, because they might pull back a little bit and say, okay, we don't want to buy too much, because we're going to start raising the price to stratospheric levels. We might cool it off a little bit, like it happened in 2017-ish. But it's our chance to kind of get involved in one of the biggest international markets. We don't have to have, because I remember having brokerage accounts. It's like, well, you have to have this, you have to have that, you have to have X amount of money. You've got to pass through all the hoops just to participate. Well, you don't have to with a lot of these cryptocurrency markets. And
holy cow! I just saw that XMR, so Monero's at almost $240. Do you think Monero has the possibility of going to like crazy levels too? Is it kind of like, because that's at the conference?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say at the conference, it just seemed Monero. So I'm thinking, well, is Monero now kind of like Bitcoin was 8 years ago, to where you're, if you buy some Monero now at $240, that
it could be. I mean, I think it has a lot of potential. I think people are starting to realize, like we talked about Bitcoin, how you can trace the transactions through blockchain analytics. People will probably be looking for something that they can use to just keep the private, because part of it too is what is it? It's like in a movie. It was kind of funny. But like the guy says, well, why are you hiding this? Why do you want all the security? And she says, this guy in this movie, I can't remember the name of the movie, but this investigator says to her, well, do you have something to hide to this woman? She says, no, it's not that I have something to hide. There's just things I don't want you to see. I want to keep certain things private in my life, like how much money I have, where my money is, how I do things in my own life. I want privacy. So that privacy element probably will, because as I said before, when you talk about PayGrac 1 and 2, FinCEN, FATCA, we've lost a lot of privacy. Technology is a double-edged sword, right? So the government's using that technology to take away our privacy and our options, or the element of choice that we have. That's kind of, to me, human God-given right. But it's so we're getting that taken away. So people are probably going to opt for this as part of their investment portfolio because they might want to have some of their investments, some of their personal property to be private. They don't want anybody else to know, whether it's the government or friends or family. They might want to keep that
I have
private.
to believe.
Like I don't know how much money. Well, I don't know how much money you have in your bank accounts because it's none of my business, right? And that's
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
privacy.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would be the natural place for where really high net worth individuals would go, because
Of course, but then you're an average individual too, right? You want some things to be private. Maybe you want some private stash of money. Where you can access, and you only know where it is.
right, right, yeah. So, there's just so much to be excited about here. But if you're open to it, man, I'd love to be able to periodically have another chat with you, and
Yeah, totally. Like when you want to, and we could also do a panel too as well. The panels are always really good.
awesome.
And 2 or 3 other people there, so people can also have contrast of opinion with my own, or other input too as well. That's always good too.
That's perfect. That's perfect. What I know, and I'm a business guy, and I've been head of biz dev for an organization for a long time, is I'm just not afraid of starting ugly. And I just think that this will end up being what it's going to be. And if I try to imagine what it's going to be in 6 months, if I put energy into it and others contribute with good energy,
Oh, yeah, totally.
I have no idea what it could be. What my vision is I want it to be an on-ramp for people to get comfortable with coming into the land of crypto and be safe and get your questions answered. Be patient with us out there, because we're not going to, there's no script here. So we don't, I don't have a crypto 101 I can provide you that says do X, Y, and Z, but I can tell you that they are out there. But what you're going to get from this channel is some great conversation. Like I hope you enjoyed tonight. You just never know. It's like that box of chocolates, right? You never know what you're going to get until you bite into it. So you never know what you're going to get until we start live streaming. And we will be live streaming. So thank you for those who thought we were going to live stream this show tonight, who had to wait until it was uploaded. But we'll get there. Because why? Because we're starting ugly. And that's okay. All right, my man. Well, hey, thank you again for the
All right.
hours of time. And please enjoy. It's Anarcho-Polko, right?
Yeah, you can kind of, I don't know if you're able to see it. There we are.
Oh man, that's a beautiful sunset. Goodness gracious. Wow.
It'll be fun. It's always fun every year.
Yeah. Well, listen, stay safe. And if you run into some of the crypto folks, tell them hello, and let folks know that we exist. And also, if you rub some elbows with some folks that you think might be fun or could contribute to this to help us newbies not get hurt out there, would love to be able to have anybody and everybody on who's interested.
Okay, I will do that.
All right, man. Okay, thank you so much.
Right.
You are awesome.
See the money wanna stay for your meal. I'll say it's gonna put some love in your life. Don't you really wanna know how it feels? Everybody wanna see what it's like, but you even wanna be inside. It ain't lies. We all know there's better things in this life.
Stay safe, sane, and sanitized.